All right, time now for Mr. Marr's Auto History Review.
I had a couple of three things, actually, I found this week that I thought were really, really interesting. And the first one we're going to start with is October the 27th, 1937. Now, a little backstory on this one. With the intent to build the ultimate automobile Cadillac, Jeff.
I know it.
They started developing a new multi-cylinder car in 1926. It could be more powerful and smoother than any luxury vehicle on the market. Their efforts were involved introducing the 452 cubic inch V16 powered Cadillac chassis in 1930.
Man, I love it.
Now, each Cadillac 16 chassis received custom coachwork that the buyer could choose, either get it from GM and have it installed, or the customer could order the rolling chassis and take it to whoever they wanted to have the coach builder of their choice put it together.
That's cool.
There were multiple members of British and Indian royalty went this route. Now, by the end of the first year of production, they had built 2,500 Cadillac 16s that went out to wealthy owners. Now, of course, the Depression kicked in. Sales dropped immediately, so they ended up that year only 750 V16s built in 1931, 300 in 1932. So by 1937, they only built 49 units. So Cadillac then moved on to plans for a second generation of the V16, which debuted on this day, October the 27th in 1937. The new cars had a slightly smaller engine, only 431 cubic inch, Jeff, but they still produced the same 185 horsepower. And they weigh 1,050 pounds for the motor.
Wow. For the motor?
For the motor.
Wow. Got 8 headlights.
Yeehaw.
Amazing. I like it.
So October the 30th, 1911, Little Motor Car Company is founded, which later becomes part of Chevrolet. Now, the Little Motor Car Company founded in Flint, Michigan by William H. Little, a former Buick executive with backing from William C. Durant, who is the co-founder of General Motors.
And his cousin Tiny.
Little and Durant wanted to create an affordable yet high-quality car to compete against the Ford Model T.
Oh, God.
Now, this is known as the Little 4 was their first car. It was a new compact equipped with a 4-cylinder engine that would appeal to budget-conscious buyers, relatively inexpensive, targeted to a different customer than the Buick and Cadillac that GM was pushing to. And but it had a relatively short lifespan. By 1913, William C. Durant saw the potential of merging the Little brand with his next venture, Chevrolet, creating a stronger competitor against Ford with vehicles that combine the value-oriented appeal of the Little Motor Company with Chevrolet's performance capabilities. So the consolidation allowed Chevrolet to produce a broader range of vehicles, established it as a major competitor in the industry, particularly against Ford, and it helped Durant regain control of General Motors, which is a different story how all that worked out. Now, the third story I found that was rather interesting, we've touched on this before, October the 31st, 1957, the Chevrolet Impala is introduced. Now, or it's announced. The car would premiere. It's the top-of-the-line Bel Air for 1958. I always thought that it was a standalone brand in 1958, but it wasn't. It was more of a trim level on the Bel Air, and it could only be had as the coupe or a convertible. So while the Impala and the Bel Air appeared similar in the A-pillar forward, the two cars had structural differences in the back. The Impala had a shorter cabin and a longer deck lid, and the Impala came with a 283 V8. But if you wanted more speed, you could step up to that year to the automaker's first big block, which was a 348 V8 with 280 horses if you had the 3.2s on it. So in 1958, Chevrolet built more than 180,000 Impalas, helping the automaker claim the top production for that title year. But then the next year, 1959, the Impala became its standalone model. That's the reason the 58 was the only year that looked the way it did.
Wow. That's very cool.
And that's This Week in Auto History.
Interesting. Well, here's